So thank you, Roberto, and thank you, dear Selan. And I'm gonna try to be brief, and I want to try to speak also in my language, in Spanish also for a while. But I will start saying thank you to all the organizations, saying thank you to the translators, saying thank you to the whole staff who organize it, and also, of course, to the International Secretariat. So without all of you, it would not be possible to be here. So this is the first thing that I would like to say. The second thing that I would like to say is that I would like to apologize because in most of the time I was not present because I was with most of you having meetings, discussing. So I know that this is something that sometimes is a little bit lacking, that the president has to be in bilateral meetings, but I try to follow some of the outcomes and the discussions. And by this reason, I would like to thank you all for the interventions, for the notes, for the comments. And I would like to do some short comments on the outcomes. And I would like to quote one of the last panelists who was chairing, the professor Atsapar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing very well, but she said basically that we have to think big. We have to think big as organization. And to think big, after these 3-4 days, I would like to underline two ideas, basically. If we want to be big, we have to be a real platform for dialogue. We have to be a platform for dialogue. And I think this exercise here in Istanbul was an excellent exercise for dialogue. And the second thing that, of course, was raised in one of the bilateral meetings, because I also would like to share the disclose, someone told me, yes, platform of dialogue, but the capacity to act. Capacity to act. This would be my second point. And the third point, which is the bad news, is funding capacity. So having also an operationality means having funding capacity. I will not underscore and I will not unveil the names, but I would like to thank you. Some countries that already said that they're going to make some extra budgetary contributions for the next years to be able to do the third pillar, which is being able to observe, and to observe. And with this idea of the capacity to act, I would like to say that I think that we have to be happy and we have to be glad. I listened to the colleague of Luxembourg mentioning children in Ukraine, and I think we have to be glad, we have to be happy that we were able to join the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children. I think this is very important that we adopted this during this assembly here in Istanbul. And I would like also to underscore and underline another point, that we have a very interesting seminar on Sunday afternoon on Ukraine, on the situation on Ukraine after the war. And I would like to say two things. It was really painful. I know that for the Ukrainian delegation, it was really painful to speak about the future of Ukraine, knowing that there were some people who intervened from Kiev who told us, I'm not here because I have to be aware of my kids. So I think it's very important that we had this dialogue. And I would like to say one of the outcomes, only one because I don't have much time, but there were some panelists saying that the next threat, even when the conflict will be, the full-scale invasion will be over, is the threat of digital war. And then we have to be already working on this. This is also our capacity to act. One of my thinkings, one of my ideas that I've shared with some of you is that in Vienna in February, we have to devote time to this idea of techno-authoritarian democracies, that they are threatening us via the digital world. And I think this is one of the items that we have to tackle. I'm going to end with two things. I would like really to thank you again, the delegation of Turkey, for all the work. Really thank you. And I would like to recommend you a book. It's a story showing that this city is always, or has been always, an idea of bridges and bringing two worlds together. There is a book which is from a French author, Mathias Enart, in which there is the story of the Sultan Basajet, who sent a letter to Michelangelo, the famous Michelangelo, to build a bridge in the Corne d'Or, in the Golden Horn, in 1506. So this bridge was never built. This bridge was never done because in the end, this was a sort of legend among the histories of the last 500 centuries. But it shows something, that there is always a connection between East and West. And even at this time, there was a dialogue between the Sultan and the Pope, and of course, in this imagination of Michelangelo. So I think this is what we have to do. We have to try to build these bridges, like in this book, which is, of course, it's imaginaire, it's not reality, it never happened. But we're going to build these bridges. So thank you very much. And now it's time for the Bosphorus tour. Thank you.